Hmm. Thank you, sir. Okay, so let us begin. A very good morning to all of you. Let us begin with our second lesson of geography, and this lesson is inside our earth. Okay. Okay, so let us begin with the lesson, uh, lesson 2 of geography. Okay, inside our earth, the earth, our homeland, is a dynamic planet. It is constantly undergoing changes inside and outside. Okay, but when we are trying to understand about our planet earth, we see that, okay, the earth was formed, the earth was formed 4.5, okay, it was formed 4.5 billion years ago. And we see that, okay, when this earth was formed, how do we get this information? We get this information through the radiometric dating and other evidence that is available with the scientists and the geologists who study the earth and its features. Okay, okay, according to them, this earth was formed 4.5 billion years ago. Okay, and the earth is tilted, the earth is tilted on its axis, okay, inclined axis, it is tilted, and the axis, the earth's axis is tilted at 23 and a half degree from the plane of its orbit around the sun. Okay, we see that all the planets and the earth, like all the other planets, it revolves around the sun and it moves in a fixed elongated path called the orbit. Okay, it is revolving around the sun. And why it is revolving? It is revolving because the gravitational pull of the sun is keeping all these planets in their elliptical orbit, in their elongated paths called the orbit. Okay, so we see that this tilt, okay, the tilt of the earth, the tilt varies from 22.1 degree and 24.5 degree. Okay, we see that the earth, it keeps changing, it keeps, the earth changes its position, changes its position every 40,000 years. Okay, so there is a change in the position. When we say that the earth is a dynamic planet, okay, so we see it is always undergoing changes. And we see that the earth is changing its position every 40,000 years. Okay, its magnetosphere, it has a magnetic field around it. The earth has a magnetic field around it which prevents, okay, due to this magnetic field that is there around the earth, okay, we see that it is due to this magnetic field around the earth, we see that the things that are coming, the celestial bodies, okay, which are coming from the space, okay, they are returned back to the space, and less harm is done to the earth. The magnetosphere acts as a shield against solar and cosmic. Okay, particle radiation. So we see the Earth's magnetosphere. It acts as a shield against solar and cosmic particle radiation. These are a few informations. These are a few of the informations related to the Earth. Before starting the chapter, I thought that you must have some important information about your planet Earth. Okay. We also see that the shape of the Earth, the shape of the Earth is not a complete sphere. It means what? It means that the Earth is not spherical in shape. Okay, it is not it is not completely a sphere. Okay, we see the shape of the Earth. The Earth is a geoid. Okay, the shape of the Earth is a geoid. Okay, what does it mean? What does the word geoid means? It means that it means that the that there is when we look at the shape of the Earth, we see that the Earth is flattened. The Earth is flattened at the poles and is bulging. Okay, and is bulging at the equator. Hope you remember the okay the poles and the equator. Let me draw a rough sketch for you. Okay, supposing if I draw a rough sketch, of the Earth, what do I see? I see, okay, that this is the shape of the Earth. Okay, and when we say that the Earth is a geoid, we will see that the shape is somewhat like this. It is flattened. It is flattened at the poles. Okay, and there is a bulge. There is a bulge at the equator. So this is the equator, 0 degree. This is the equator, and these are the poles, 90 degree north, which is the north pole, and 90 degree south, the south pole. Supposing we take a balloon and we fill the balloon with water and we try to press the balloon, okay, from top, we will see this shape is going to come. Okay, the shape like that of a geoid will appear. Okay, so the Earth is a geoid. Okay, it is slightly flattened at the poles and it is bulging at the equator. Now why is this shape, why the Earth's shape is like this? We see the shape of the Earth is like this because it is constantly rotating. It is constantly rotating from west to east on its inclined plane, okay, in its axis. Due to this rotation, of the Earth, we see that the shape has become like this. Okay, and when we come to the distance of the Earth, when we come to the distance of the Earth from the sun, we see the Earth is situated at a distance of 150 million kilometers. 150 million kilometers from the sun. Okay, we know the sun is the head of the solar family. Okay, and our solar system comprises of the sun, the 8 planets, and the other celestial bodies like asteroids, meteoroids, comets. Okay, and the satellite. So we see that the earth is situated at a distance of 150 million kilometers. Okay, and okay, it is located in the Goldilocks zone. It is located in the Goldilocks zone where temperatures are just right for liquid water to exist and for life to evolve. We see among the 8 planets that are there in the solar system, it is only the earth. Okay, it is only on earth that life is possible. Why it is so? Why life is possible only on the earth? Okay, life is possible on earth because nearly 3/4, okay, 3/4 of the earth is covered with water. And we see, okay, that on earth we see that important gases like oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, and carbon dioxide are present in the air. Okay, we see that the blanket of air that surrounds the earth, the blanket of air that surrounds the earth, okay, it comprises of important gases. We see that the air constitutes of oxygen, which is 21%, nitrogen, which is 78%. Okay, and then after these two gases we also see that there is hydrogen, okay, carbon dioxide, other inert gases, and argon. Okay, argon, helium, neon, and other inert gases are also present in this layer of air. So we see that this layer of air, the blanket of air, okay, that surrounds the earth, it helps support, it helps the earth to protect itself from the harmful ultraviolet rays that are coming out from the sun. And as far as the location, okay, as far as the location of the earth is concerned, the earth is the third nearest planet to the sun, and fifth largest in terms of size. Okay, so we see the earth is the third nearest planet to the sun, and it is part of the inner planets. Okay, the planets like Mercury, Venus, Mars and Earth are considered to be the inner planets. Okay, and uh, we see that the other planets like Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus and Neptune, they are called the outer planets because there is a asteroid belt between the planet Mars and Jupiter. Okay, so we see that the earth is the third nearest planet to the sun and fifth largest in terms of size. Now let us come to the okay interior of the earth. How do we come to know about the interiors of the earth? As the title suggests, inside our earth. Okay, so we see that it is only on the earth that the three that the four major domains are the four major realms are present, like the lithosphere, the hydrosphere, atmosphere, and we see that the life supporting system, the life supporting system the life supporting system, biosphere, helps the other three layers to interact among themselves. Okay, so we see that the life supporting system, biosphere, it helps the other three layers to interact among themselves and support life. We see that it is the biosphere is the narrow zone of contact. It is the narrow zone of contact in which the three layers, okay, the lithosphere, the hydrosphere, the atmosphere, okay, all these three layers are interacting among themselves to support life. Okay, so we let us start with the interior of the earth. Okay, how do we know about the interior of the earth? When we are talking about the interior of the earth, how do we come to know about the interior of the earth? Our earth is made up of an outer surface and an interior. Okay, most of our knowledge of the earth's interior comes from the study of the earthquake. Okay, it comes from the study of the earthquake waves produced at the time of earthquake. On the basis of seismological data based on depth and density. Okay, our knowledge about the interior of the earth comes from the study of the earthquake, the earthquake waves produced during an earthquake. Okay, Okay, we know this that the earthquakes, they take place because of the shifting of the lithospheric plates. Okay, whenever there is a shift of the lithospheric plates, or earthquakes occurs. And when we study these earthquake waves, we get a lot of information about the interior of the earth. Okay, so we see on the basis of seismology. Based on depth and density, on the basis of seismological data, okay, based on depth and density, the structure of the earth, the structure of the earth's interior is divided into three major concentric layers. Okay, the layers of the earth has been compared to the, okay, layers of the onion. Whenever we try to peel an onion, we see that there are several concentric layers, one after the other. Okay, so similar is the case with the interior of the earth. Okay, several concentric layers are there. Okay, and let us try to understand what these layers are. When we go through these layers, we see that the first layer is the the topmost layer is the crust. Then you have the mantle, and finally you have the core. Okay, now let us try to understand the interior of the earth with the help of a diagram which is there in your book. Okay, now supposing if I draw the rough sketch of the diagram that is there in your book. The diagram looks somewhat like this. Our earth is a blue planet. Okay, and when we try to take out 1/4 of the earth, we see, okay, it is somewhat like this. Here you have the core, and on top of the core you have the mantle. Okay, so we see that this is our earth's interior. This is the interior of our earth, a rough sketch of the interior of the earth. This figure is there in your book. Okay, figure 2.1, interior of the earth. And when we look at this diagram, okay, we see that the topmost part, we know this is the lithosphere. Okay, lithosphere is one of the major domains of the earth. Okay, and it is the solid part, it is the solid topmost part of the earth. So we see in this lithosphere, when on this lithosphere we see, okay, the crust is there. You have the crust on the lithosphere. So this is the crust. Okay, and then you have the mantle. This is the mantle. And finally you can see this is the core. Okay, this is the inner core, and this is the outer core. So this is the rough sketch of the interior of the earth, and we see, okay, that each of these layers, they have a boundary. Okay, the crust is having a boundary with the mantle. Okay, the mantle is having a boundary with the core. When we go through these layers, we get to know a lot of uh, we come to know about a lot of things about the interior of the earth. Okay, now let us try to understand the diagram in a proper way. When we see, let us try to understand about the crust. Okay, it is the outermost, it is the outermost layer of the earth. Okay, and its percent composition is 1%. If we divide the uh, interior of the earth into 100%, we will see that the percentage composition of the crust is 1%. Okay, and the crust uh, is made up of uh, the it is made up of two type of crust. There is the continentals. The crust is made up of, okay, it is made up of the continental crust and the oceanic crust. So we see that the crust is the outermost layer of the earth. It is just like the layer of skin. It is just like the layer of skin, okay, and covering the body. And we see that the percentage composition of the crust is 1%, and it is made up of two continental crust. That is the it is made up of two crust, that is the continental crust and the oceanic crust. Okay, the average thickness of the continental crust is 5 kilometers. When we are talking about the average thickness of the continental crust is 5 kilometers. Okay, so we see the average thickness of the continental crust is 5 kilometers, whereas the average thickness of the oceanic crust is 35 kilometers. The average thickness of the oceanic crust is 35 kilometers. Okay, and the maximum thickness of the crust is about 60 kilometers. So we see that the crust is further divided. Now this crust, okay, it is further divided into the continental crust and the oceanic crust. It is further divided into two. Okay, the crust is further divided the crust is further divided into two parts. And what are these? Okay, the first part is Sial. and the second part is Saima. Okay, so we see the upper part of the crust consists of the mineral composition of silica and alumina, therefore it is called the sial. Okay, and its average thickness is, okay, 25 kilometer. The mineral composition is of silica and alumina. Okay, the mineral composition is of silica and alumina. Okay, so we see that, okay, silica and alumina are the mineral composition of the sial, and its average thickness is its thickness is 25 kilometers. Okay, the thickness of the sial is 25 kilometers and its average density is 2.7 gram. 2.7 gram per cubic centimeter. Now when we are coming to Saima, we see that the mineral composition, the mineral composition of is of silica, iron and magnesium. Okay, so we see that the mineral composition is of silica, iron and magnesium. Okay, so these are the mineral compositions of Saima, and the average density is about 3 to 3.5 uh, gram. So we see that this is the mineral composition of Saima. Okay,